Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain. Today is January 27th, and we're happy you could join us. It's Hump Day, Wednesday, joined by my co-host, Ryan Gorman, with the awesome green screen behind him. Just joking. He is really there in tropical paradise. We also have CJ and Monty, our crypto analysts from marketrebellion.com. And we're going to start off. There's a few outliers today. I just want to always start the show off positive now with green, no red. We'll leave red for later. But right now we have Voyager token number 2 in the gainers over the last 24 hours, about 14.74% up. That's always good. We have everybody's favorite, the pink unicorn. It's the only reason to buy it, Uniswap, and Uniswap is up a little over 10.5% in the last 24 hours. And then coming in number 5, we have Swissborg CHSB token. That's up 6.6% in the last 24 hours. But overall, things are okay in the markets today. I'm going to take it to Ryan, get the legal stuff out of the way, and we'll hit the big boards with CJ after the plugs.
Thanks, Alex. And this is just a reminder that all content provided by Trade the Chain is strictly for informational and educational purposes only. This is not investment advice and should absolutely not be construed as such. Trade the Chain is brought to you by Trade the Chain, a 24/7 community of traders around the world sharing insights and victories based off of AI-driven sentiment indicators and actionable alerts that help you beat the market. TradeTheChain.com for a 14-day trial.
And Market Rebellion Crypto Monty and I's community, marketrebellion.com/crypto, your one-stop shop for trading crypto. Get exclusive access to trade ideas, macro portfolio allocations, a pro charting platform, a beginner to advanced crypto trading education curriculum, and an elite community of traders all around the world, and much more. If you're serious about trading and investing in crypto, this is the service that gives you everything you need all in one place. Start your first month trial for just $1 at marketrebellion.com/crypto. So going into the big boards here, we had a little breakdown into the honey hole today, but not anything super significant. We found a little bit of support here at the previous setup trend line at 29.5K. So that's a level we're going to be watching for a further breakdown, but a little bit of a retrace here after that decline. I'm still bearish until the trend can possibly break above this upward sloping trend line. One indicator I want to add for you guys here is the Williams alligator, because it shows some nice support and resistance, but you can see what you want to see, or what you want to see in an uptrend, is parallel lines sloping forward. But now we're getting a convergence, and we're getting the Williams alligator to turn over into a bearish formation. So not only is the downward sloping trend line going to act as resistance, but so is 34 and 36K directly above. So I'm still bearish. In yesterday's episode with Alex, we talked about potentially buying puts on some of these blockchain related companies. So what I did, that show is I bought some puts on Riot. Today we opened up about down 7 to 9% and traded that way throughout the day. I had an option for expiring on February 5th. So I sold that and rolled it and bought a February 26th, $18 put. And so the break even on that one is 14.10. And so you kind of see the setup we have here. It expires on the 26th. But that's one of the opportunities that I'm looking at to play this downside price action in the interim while still holding Bitcoin for the long term. So a little downward hedge play there as we continue with this bearish momentum. But yeah, Monty, would you like to add anything on the technicals there?
Yeah, so I'm in complete agreement with you in terms of your outlook. One thing that we get asked a lot is kind of how long can this period of somewhat consolidation go on before we get that breakdown to the lower levels of around 25 to maybe even lower. And the thing is, like, historically, we've seen these periods of consolidation, they can last up to months. So that's why I really like the strategy of hedging downside. It's not only hedging against the downside, you're also hedging against a just completely sideways market. So I think if Bitcoin continues to trade sideways like it is right now, and we continue to kind of get this battle between the bears and also bulls buying in the 30K range, I think that's going to be very bearish for some of those crypto related stock assets. So I love buying puts at them right now because they had the momentum with Bitcoin when it was rallying up. And now that the momentum's gone, I just don't see people buying like MicroStrategy, Silvergate, Riot, Mara, any of these companies with the same enthusiasm that they were buying it with during the bull run. So I think these will be some of the first assets affected by the sort of crypto sell-off that we may see over the next few months. So I really like your strategy of buying puts against your Bitcoin holdings. I think it's a great way to hedge against neutral to bearish price action.
So one thing I wanted to ask you about both Monty and CJ, if you're buying puts in the equities market against crypto holdings with companies that are highly correlated to Bitcoin, does that mean you think Bitcoin is going to have a prolonged downturn? Like say we're going to 25 or 20, or God forbid we go down to like 19, where that's a great buying opportunity for all of us. But do you think that that's what's going to happen, or is this more of a short-term bet for you?
Well, the dates of the options are pretty indicative of the time frame that we're looking at. So the expiration of the puts that I bought were February 26th. And so I do expect to have a breakdown in the next few weeks. I don't think it'll be prolonged. But one thing I do want to show on the chart, Ryan, and this is kind of what speaks to that 25, 26K price level, is here I have 1 hour chart, and you can see we had this previous decline. Let me just change this for a second, make it a little bit more visually appealing. And so what you can do from a technical standpoint is this is kind of setting up to be a bear flag pattern. So if you take the length of the previous decline and just drag it to where we are currently, it hits a perfect target of about 24 to 25K. And that is a very similar area in which a lot of this support is ultimately setting up to be. So, you know, something like that definitely could happen if we break below support immediately. But, you know, we don't have a crystal ball. It certainly could be a consolidation for a few more days, possibly even a week. But I think we're closer to a breakdown than we ever have been before. And so that's kind of why I wanted to get into that position before the close today.
Absolutely. And one more thing, you know, that's really dominating the equity markets over the past 24 hours is the Wall Street Bets subreddit, right? Where a bunch of retail traders have decided that hedge funds who were shorting stocks like BlackBerry or GameStop, they were wrong, and they were going to prove them wrong. And that outsized influence in traditional equities markets, you know, that those traders, at least a fair portion of them probably enjoy that outsized influence in digital assets, right? So they decided, okay, if we can do this in Bitcoin, if we can do this in ETH, why can't we do this in equities? Do you think that mentality is now starting to carry over to the traditional asset markets, where the retail traders can really drive market momentum in a certain direction in a way that they couldn't previously because of, you know, HFTs, because of hedge funds, because of dark pools, you know, trading around the retail trade or front running the retail trade? Do you think that that's starting to carry over to traditional markets, and crypto starting to have even more of an outsized influence in equalizing the whole spectrum of investing?
Yeah, I love to see it because for the longest time, CJ and I have talked about the sort of overlap in just like the general trading psychology of a Wall Street Bets trader and a crypto trader. So there's just this sort of like natural overlap between the two. So I do think that like we talked a lot about how, I mean, Robinhood for the longest time has made profit by selling their order flows to big companies. And that makes the deck kind of stacked against you as a retail trader. So it's really tough to make profit because you're getting cleared out by these massive equity firms. So it's refreshing to see kind of the everyday retail trader taking back some power and using the momentum of the markets to crush these short squeezes. And one interesting thing about this too is I kind of think it works both ways. It's going to be kind of interesting to see if the profits that are taken out of these equity positions kind of flow back into crypto and vice versa. So I think this bull run really gave retail traders a lot more money to kind of play out these short squeezes and make money in equity markets. So it was cool to see.
This is absolutely this is payback. This is payback for all the order flow that they sold to Citadel and all those big firms that have just been tearing apart retail for the past 8 months like piranhas. This is payback. So
Preach.
Yeah.
No, but one thing Divino hit on in our morning research note was that it's like retail is taking power back from the hedge fund, right? Because hedge funds have just so long ruled the roost. And the one thing that he did remind people of, though, you have the smart money and then you have the hot money. And the hot money is to a degree dependent on what's happening with the stimulus plan from the federal government, right? So, and that unwind could be painful when it eventually occurs, when stimulus ends. What do you think that will look like in the crypto markets, in the digital asset markets?
that's an incredibly difficult one to ask because it's like,
As CJ would say, let me unpack this.
This is $1 million question because what we're asking is Bitcoin a safe haven? Can it rally in a liquidity crisis type event? I don't think we'll have another liquidity crisis type event like what we had in March. That was a black swan. That was very, very rare. But it could be a slow grind down. It for sure could once that stimulus once we kind of cut it back, because it will have to be cut back eventually. And so will Bitcoin have the strength and momentum to be able to, take capital from the equity market and have it translated into the crypto market cap and mainly Bitcoin? So it remains to be seen. I'm interested to hear your guys' opinions on this, but it's whoever can answer that question correctly will make quite a bit of money.
Yeah, well, CJ and I, we always kind of like joke when the S&P is performing so well. It's when it's so red hot. There really isn't much incentive to put your money into Bitcoin when you can just put it into calls and pretty much always make money and your returns are always great. So I think that if there is kind of a cool off with the S&P and it starts to trade a little bit sideways, that could be really good for Bitcoin because people will start, the same people that are making a ton of money right now, just riding the S&P, might look to Bitcoin to kind of do the same thing if the S&P starts to really cool off, which it might when the stimulus money really slows down. So it could be really good for crypto if people kind of see it as a true competitor to the traditional financial markets.
Interesting. And I think that's one of the things that we've always dreamt of, right? You talk about the S&P cooling off and how that might be a good thing to Bitcoin. Decoupling of correlation, that would be tremendous. All right.
Gold doesn't even have it, right?
What's that?
Gold doesn't even have the anti-correlation, all right? Gold fell very drastically, especially in 2008, and it didn't rally into 2009. So if you don't need gold when stocks go up, and it doesn't protect you when stocks go down, why do you need gold? I don't understand. I don't get it. Can somebody explain that to me?
I'm sure Peter Schiff would be happy to.
I was just gonna throw in a Peter Schiff joke.
I mean, it looks good in jewelry. I'm not gonna invest in it, but it looks nice on the body.
Have you ever tried to carry around $100,000 worth of gold? It weighs a lot. Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin you carry it around in something like this, 100,000. There's no 100,000 in that, folks. Just so you know.
And if you steal a Bitcoin ATM, there isn't actually Bitcoin in there. So,
all right. We're gonna wrap it up here today, folks. We're running a little late. But we did want to get you your fix of Bitcoin, the charts, and what's going on. Ryan did bring up a really, really good point. What happened today with the whole GameStop, the herd mentality, and power to the people. So Ryan, thank you for bringing that
All
up.
the players.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah.
We
Gamers
got a
rise
honey
up.
hole. We got a honey hole in there. We got a Peter Schiff comment in there. I think overall we did pretty well. So, and by the way, folks, if you are a member of TradeTheChain.com and you haven't read today's research report from Divino, it is our research report is called The Trading Floor. Go into your account, go read it on the posting. It is really interesting today. That being said, don't forget both parts of our VGX tokenomics fundamental value episodes are out as well. And also, if you'd like to see CJ again in that kimono that he wore on yesterday's episode, just drop it in the comments. Peer pressure will get him to act on it.
I can't believe I missed that. I'm so sad.
I mean, the guy looked fabulous, to be honest with you. He's a baller. That being said,
The quote that Alex used was before we went live is like, "You look like a shill who's done well for himself."
Life goals.
No, he's like a Shilly Mays. It was great. Folks, hang on to your handlebars. Watch out for those honey holes. And thank you for joining us. We will see you again tomorrow, where we're also going to announce the meme winner for the 100 VGX from our VGX episodes that we put out, as well as our good friend Cyrus, CEO of Swissborg, CHSB token, just texted me back. He's going to be with us next week as well. So stay tuned for that, folks. See you later.
Thanks, everyone.